Hello again. So today I want to talk about things that I've been told to do or recommended to do that are supposedly healthy but really were not healthy for me. Basically, the point of this video is that whatever the media is telling you, whatever other people tell you, even possibly professionals in their field, it might not be, what they're suggesting might not fit with you and your individual history or genetics or whatever, because everyone is different and different things are going to work for us and make us feel good about ourselves, and we have to, I think it's important to honour that and not necessarily follow the trends that other people might be following. So I'm just going to talk about a few things, and I really hope this video is not triggering for people. I don't think these are specifically, I'm trying not to talk about things that are specifically like eating disorder behaviours, but more like things that the media might suggest to us to do. So the first thing is walking. So walking 10,000 steps in a day is often suggested to be a good thing to do for your health. I think the history of this is actually very dubious. Like, I don't think the number 10,000 was chosen really for any particular reason other than that it's easy to remember. Okay, so I decided to actually look this up, and as I thought, the 10,000 steps a day target idea came from a marketing ploy. It originated in Japan, trying to sell a type of pedometer, so it wasn't ever actually about health. And recent research shows that any mental health, physical health benefits actually level off at a step count lower than that, which I'm not going to name because I kind of think it's irrelevant, as the point of this video is to do whatever you enjoy, so, and what fits well with you. But just so you know, the 10,000 steps a day rule is bogus. Anyway, so walking 10,000 steps, or another thing I see often is like YouTubers or influencers talking about how they like to go for a morning walk every day, like morning cardio and all that sort of stuff. So during my eating disorder, including during recovery, during my eating disorder I didn't do that much walking because I just didn't. Exercise was tricky for me. I did struggle with compulsive exercise during my eating disorder, but it was not really to do with walking that much. During recovery, once I was weight restored, in my treatment they allow you to go for walks, which is very nice for them to have that flexibility, although it actually wasn't helpful for my recovery, and even to this day I don't really like walking. So I do not count my steps, I don't track distances that I walk or anything like that. I don't go for a walk every morning or every day. Yesterday I did not go outside of the house at all, not once. I do like to get outside in a day. Yesterday it didn't happen, and that's fine. So my experience of walking in recovery, when I was told you're allowed to go for walks, whatever, I got into it. I would go for a walk maybe every other day or something initially, and it very quickly became compulsive for me. I became addicted to counting steps, trying to reach 10,000 steps a day. I deleted the step counter, realized it was compulsive. I tried to just go for a walk, but even without knowing the steps, just the act of going for a walk in the morning, and I could sort of know the distance, like whether it's shorter or longer in my head based on the time it was taking, even that was too much for me, and still is too much for me, to be honest. because I don't really enjoy walking, I like, if you enjoy it, good for you, but for me it just becomes compulsive. I don't find it relaxing. I don't really enjoy it because I live in an area where I'm surrounded by cars most of the time. I don't enjoy the smell of pollution, and it becomes too obsessive for me. And the first thing that I do when I wake up, I just want to have a coffee. I don't want to go for a walk. It takes me like an hour to actually be properly awake in the morning. Like, I am not ready to go out for a walk or do exercise in that first hour. So that's me. So right now I don't really go for walks. You might see me go out for a walk with a friend or my mum occasionally, but by myself, very rare that I would go out for a walk, except perhaps maybe like one round around the block if I'm having a mental block with my writing or PhD stuff. Then I might do that. I've done that once in like 2 years. So that's one thing that often I read in the news. I see it on social media: go for a morning walk, aim for 10,000 steps, blah blah blah. I don't do that. I feel great. So if it's not for you, if walking is not for you, you don't need to do it either. Another thing that was suggested to me in recovery actually is yoga, and I tried that as well. I tried yoga. I do like stretching because I like maintaining some flexibility. I feel I'm quite proud of how like I find it quite satisfying to be able to be more flexible than previously. Like when I was younger, I did a brief period of gymnastics, and I found it really cool how just by doing simple stretches each day, I could become a bit more flexible. So I do some very simple stretches for like a few minutes most days. But actual like yoga, like anything for more than like 5 minutes, I don't really do that either. And I think I probably could do it now without it becoming compulsive. But even during eating disorder recovery, like, we're allowed to do yoga because it's like more restful or whatever than vigorous exercise. But but during my eating disorder, my brain was not rational, right? Like, I was struggling with this mental illness, and even intellectually knowing that yoga is more restful perhaps, it still became this compulsive thing for me, where I would have to do it every day for like half an hour or something in order to feel okay. So yoga did not work for me either. As you can probably tell, I have had a tricky relationship with exercise for a few years. Doing pretty well right now, actually. I think the best that I have in a long time. But during those early days in recovery, recovering from compulsive exercise, yoga was a no-no. Walking, no. So if yoga does not work for you, don't feel pressured to do it. Even if your treatment team says to you, hey, why don't you try yoga as a way to relax? If you know it's not relaxing for you, because for me, in my eating disorder recovery, I like that time to just like stretch and stuff, my mind was not on my breathing, like where maybe it should be. It was on the food that I'd eaten that day, the food that I was going to have to eat later. Like, it made me more self-conscious of my body changing because of the way that yoga can sometimes draw focus on the way that your body looks in certain positions or like poses, and I did not find that helpful. So yoga was not for me, and I don't do it really much at all now either. Maybe one day. I could see myself doing it when I'm like older, but not right now. Okay, a third thing is, of course, diets, various diets. Recently there was some new diet that came out, some combination between keto and intermittent fasting, which just sounded totally ridiculous to me. Made me very angry, but any kind of restrictive diet is not going to work for me, did not work for me. I remember when my eating disorder was just starting to get kind of bad, there was this big phase of, there was this big push for people to reduce their sugar intake. And so me being me, someone predisposed to an eating disorder, I, of course, took that to the point of eating no sugar, and that really didn't work for me. It was a lot of work, took up a lot of time to actually make food without sugar. It was not fun. The food did not taste good. I was very sad, like very sad. You know, food has things in it that taste good and make you feel good, and that's okay. Like, that's one of the good things about food. Like, if you're craving chocolate because you're sad, yeah, chocolate will probably release some happy hormones in your brain. So I try to embrace that. Like, there's nothing wrong with sugar, okay? It's like, eating sugar again has been a really big part of reclaiming who I am, because I've like grew up baking with my mum and like my parents, my grandmother, like going through recovery and baking my grandmother's old recipes has been a really sort of healing process for me. But basically, any sort of diet is going to, you're going to restrict your foods, and I think, as Megzy says, you're going to restrict your life as well. Like, going on a diet means that you isolate yourself socially, you crave foods that you want to have but you can't have them, you feel less energetic. It's just not a fun time. Do not recommend. And for any of us with an eating disorder history, it is just far too dangerous to go down any kind of path that involves dieting or restricting food in some way. Well, I'm gonna go get back to processing my data. This was my little break. So thank you for watching. I'll record again soon, and sending you lots of love. Bye.